Hey, welcome back everyone on the 12th video of the Power Pages 30 Days Learning Challenge. If you are new to this learning series or you are watching this first time, this is the new initiative I took this new year where my main objective is to cover all the topics of the Power Pages from basics to advanced. Okay. So if I just wanted to give a quick recap what we have done so far as part of this Power Pages 30 Days Learning Challenge. So we have done some fundamental sessions. So if I talk about the introductions, then Power Pages components, then we discussed about the licensing model. And from the fourth session onwards, we are into the practical implementation. So where we have set up the Power Pages trial instance. And we have discussed about like how to create the forms to insert the data in the Dataverse, how to display that data on the pages, Power Pages using the list, how to submit the data in the multiple steps using multi-step forms. We discussed about the content snippet. So that was also one of the key component from the designing perspective. So how you can manage your content, how you can reusable, how you can keep your code in the reusable format so that you can, use it across your portals. We discussed about one of the most important topic is the security. So that is about how the security, how the authentication, how the authorization process works in the portal. We also discussed about how to set up the Azure AD B2C. So we have recently given a session in the Power community along with my friend Assis. So in this session, we discussed about how to set up the Azure AD B2C as well. So if you haven't watched all these videos, I would recommend just go and watch all these videos because I have covered a lot of interesting stuff in that. Okay. And if I talk about the form metadata, that is also very important topic. I recently discussed how to change the metadata property, how you can override the properties of your form metadata, like your fields, your subgrade, your timeline, your section, your tab. So that is also one of the most important session we have discussed about. 11th session, we discussed about the liquid template code. So liquid template is one of the, I would say it is the soul of your Power Pages. So if you have to customize your Power Pages, design, or if you have to customize the functionality of the Power Pages, especially the liquid template is used to display the dynamic content on the portal, right? So if you haven't watched these videos related to the liquid template, I would recommend, and I'm also going to provide the links of the liquid template code session in the description box. So the today's video is all about the home page designing, and it's linked basically with the liquid template code. So if you are a beginner on the Power Pages and you are straight away going to design the home page, or you are going to customize the home page, that then it's going to be difficult for you. So I would recommend first understand the basic or the core concept of the liquid template, because in that session I discussed about all the basics of the liquid template. What is liquid template? Why we use the liquid template? The architecture of the liquid template? Who invented that? And some basic syntax of it, right? So that syntax are very useful in order to design the home page as well. Okay, so I would recommend like all the videos are very helpful. So just go and watch them out. Then today, if we talk about that, what is our session is going to be, then today we're going to discuss about the home page designing. Okay, now home page is basically it just a example I have just taken for the demonstration purpose. But any page if you want to customize based on your customer requirement. So one of the most common requirement that you see on your live project is your landing page, right? So your landing page is your home page. So whenever your customer is log into your website, or whether they are just surfing your website without login to your website, so whether it's anonymous user or authenticated user, your first page is your home page. Okay, and that is one of the most common requirement these days, that how you can design your home page, how I can customize the home page. So in this session I'm not going to dive deep into it, like about the each and individual component to design the page, because it's gonna take a long day, or it could probably take a week. So I would recommend that you can parallelly start the practical implementation, you should also start designing in the parallel. And if you have any concern, if you have any challenges designing, then just keep in touch with me. Okay, so I'm always available for you. So if you find any difficulties designing the page, then just please let me know. But today in this session, I'm just going to discuss about the fundamental concept of designing the page. Okay, whether it's a home page or any of your custom page. So my main objective is to, if you are planning to design any page or a home page, how we can use all the components of the portal. Okay, so today I'm going to design the home page, and I just wanted to show you that if you have to design any pages in the Power Pages site, then how you can utilize the other components of your portal, like your content snippet, your site markers, your web files, and your site settings, your forms, and your lists. So these all the components are very important components from the portal perspective, and how you can reuse them or how you can utilize them to design any pages. Okay, because just using the JavaScript, CSS, or HTML, anyone can design the page. I think these kind of things, students are learning from the school, classes only, right? So in this, if I talk about like today's this HTML and JavaScript and coding part, the people are learning in the students are learning in the school itself, right? So it's not a big deal actually. So, but since we are using the low code no code website concept, we are using Power Pages. So we have to see here that how we can effectively use all the components of the Power Pages to design our Power Pages site or to design the home pages. All right. So let's quickly get into the implementation. So I'm just quickly go to my Power Apps Makers portal.com. So this is the Power Apps Maker portals. So whenever you install your portal, you get to see the apps that get installed here. So this is the Portal Designer app that we also call it as a portal app, and this is the model driven app. So some of the components we can design directly within this app, but some of the components are still not available in the designer app. Like you cannot manage the content snippet, you cannot manage the web templates. Some of the site settings are not there. So meanwhile, we have to keep on using the portal management also. Since I'm working on the portal since AD Studios, I'm a big lover of the portal management app, because most of the stuff or most of the customization I always recommend to do with the portal management. But since the Microsoft is pushing toward the low code no code capabilities, so we should also learn about that how the portal management app provide the capabilities. All right, so let me open this app. So I've already opened this app in a new tab. And you already know, like we are going to design a training portal or the event management portal where our main agenda is to, publish the events, trainings, or the boot camps. Speakers can, visit the website. They can submit their sessions or request for the training, and organizer can organize the event. So these kind of things we can manage from the portal. Now, what we want is like our home page is currently out of box. We haven't much changed that. So we just only looked into the content snippet, how you can manage or how you can change the content of the portal. So we just customize the home page. But if I'll just preview it, you can see here that there is no much changes at the home page. So this is how when you install the portal, this kind of home page you see it default. Okay. So in this session, I'm going to discuss about how to customize this home page completely. So what I've done is I have already customized a page, and from there onwards, I will show you that how you can, copy paste the stuff or how you can utilize the components on your Power Pages also. Okay. So if I open that page that I've already configured for you, so that I can show that to you that how you can utilize your component. So this is my page called home new. And if I'll just preview this page, so I'll just open that page in the here. I don't want to keep it in the main navigation, so I'll just click on the preview. So how my home page looks like. So this is my out of box home page. All right. And this is how I've designed the new home page. Okay, so here you can see a banner in the background and a new welcome message. Okay, a button I have added here, some more content related to the events and all. I'm going to show the upcoming events and the number of events that I'm organizing in the upcoming months. And here you can see the list of all the the events like automation summits and the dynamic 365 FNO summit, Power Apps Developer Summit. So these kind of events I'm just displaying on my home page. And if I go down, I'm just also showing a banner of my Power Pages 30 days learning challenge. So that if the people coming to my website, they can simply have a look like what this challenge is all about. They can follow me straight away on the YouTube, LinkedIn, and Twitter. And also some interesting stuff is like I have included the forms as well. Okay, so this is the call for speaker form that we have looked at earlier as well. That is basically used to submit the sessions. I'm also showing the list as well. So whatever events we have already published, we are displaying the list here, right? So now you can see here in the single page, I have tried to incorporate all the components. I'm using a lot of content here. Okay, I'm using some dynamic content also. Like I'm displaying the events that is being pulled out from the Dataverse. Obviously, I'm not hard coded that. So let's say someone has created some no, some more new events, so I can just simply check them out on the home page. I can delete some of the events. So obviously, it's not the static events; it's a dynamic content, and some more kind of layout is there. All right. And obviously I'm also showing the forms and the list as well. So it's a complete page where I'm displaying all the information, but probably you have some other requirements. You only want to show the forms only or the list only, or you want to display only the banner or the header, something like that. Okay. Okay, so we want to learn here like how we can change all this component using the combination of liquid, HTML, and the other components that we have. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to open this page in the VS Code so that step by step we will have a look like what configuration I have done actually. All right. All right, so this is my complete page that I'm using. I'm not going to teach you how the HTML is written because that is a very basic thing, but how you can use the liquid templates and how you can use the other Power Pages components inside your liquid template, that is the main thing. All right, so there are some of the the div tag that is already been added in the HTML. So I'm not going to discuss about that, but let's check all the components one by one. Okay, so I'm just going to my home page. So first of all, in my code, let me keep this component together so that I don't forget. Okay, so first of all, I just wanted to discuss about here. So this is my Fetch XML get event. So what this line is doing actually? So this line is basically fetching all the events that already stored in my Dataverse. Okay, so if you can see here, I am fetching all the events dynamically. All right. So for example, like if I go here, as you remember in my previous session, we have submitted 6 events till now. So using the publish event form, so we have the 6 event, and we are showing those events in the form of images in this format. Okay. So obviously our events are already stored in the Dataverse. How we can fetch them? So we have used the fetch XML query for that. Okay, so how I created that fetch XML query? So I'm going to the portal management app, and in the portal management app we have the advanced find option available. So that is all only there in the model driven app. So you have to go into your model driven app. Okay, now here you have to search your entity that for that you want to retrieve your that is holding the events actually. So Power Guide events is basically the entity that is holding all the events that is published actually. Okay, So these are all the events that we have. So we want to retrieve this. So what we're going to do is we'll include the column that we needed in the fetch query. So I think uh, always a good practice that you don't include all the columns, but I can include all the columns because I don't have much column available, but you can ignore like the owning business unit, owner, modified on, record created on. So these kind of column you can ignore it, created by and all, and just click on OK. Okay. And just click on the download fetch XML. All right. So I just want to retrieve all the events. So there is no specific thing, but sometimes you may have the requirement that you want to fetch the data conditionally. So for example, you want to only retrieve the active events or submitted events or the published event, something like that, right? So I just downloaded this fetch XML. I'm just opening that. Okay. So how I'm gonna use this fetch XML in my liquid template. Okay. So what I've done is I have created a web template here. So I'm just going to show you. So this is the first thing that I'm showing, that how these events are retrieving on the home page. Okay. So what I've done is I have created a web template here, and think the web template is something with the name fetch XML get events. Okay. So this is the web template I have created. And in this web template, what I'm doing is I've just kept I'm just keeping my fetch XML only. So if you can see here, I've just pasted the fetch XML, and this is the liquid template syntax fetch XML and the name of your fetch XML and ending tag of the fetch XML. Okay, so I've discussed about this, all the syntax and the tags about it in my last session. So just watch this session so that you will understand that what is the significance of this percentage and all, and how we write the liquid template code. So I'm just using this web template just to keep my fetch XML. Where now you may have the question like why I've created a web template for that, because right now the fetch XML can only be written in the web templates, right? So if you have to retrieve the data, I've just used the fetch XML. So there are a couple of other ways as well in order to retrieve the data. Nowadays we have the portal web APIs as well. So I'm also going to cover that portal web API, how to perform the CRUD operation on the Dataverse. So you can use that as well in order to retrieve the data. But since I don't want to call the API here, since I'm working or I just wanted to give the example of liquid template. So everything I just wanted to do with the liquid template. All right. So that's why I just created a web template, and I just given the name called my query. And the interesting thing is that you should always remember the name of your fetch web template. So my name of the web template is fetch XML get events. Okay, that should be the meaningful actually. Now, in my code, what I've done is I've just include this web template. So this is the one example, that how you can include one web template in another code, right? So this is my HTML code. And if I have to include any other web template in my code, I can do that like this. So I just have to use the keyword include, and then I have to just pass the name of that web template. So by doing this, this fetch XML, so this fetch XML, what I have written here is now included in my code. So whether your code is written in your copy HTML on the web page or in the web template, you can include the web template in your HTML code. So this is also very helpful when you have a very lengthy code, because sometimes you have the thousands line of code. To make it more understandable, to break it in the pieces, what you can do is you can create multiple templates. Okay, so for example, one template is basically retrieving the data from the Dataverse, one template is basically using to design your page, and one template you can use it to pass the data to the another if you're passing the data to another application, or if you're integrating your portal with any external system, then you can distribute your coding like that. So you will be if any time if you have to make the changes, you have to just open that specific web template, and you have to just make that changes in that code. So you don't need to look into the all the code that you have written. Okay, so this is the one best practices, that how you can break your code into multiple templates. I could have used the fetch XML directly in this code as well, so it doesn't impact anything. But only thing is that I don't want to do that. I want to demonstrate to you like how you can include one template into another HTML code. All right. So this actually include my fetch XML. Now, important thing is that since you are retrieving the data from the Power Guide events table, so you need to have the necessary permission also. So since I already have the necessary permission here, so if I go to the setup table permission, so I already have provided the necessary permission that I've already talked about earlier. So published event permission is the table. And if you can see here, I've already provided all the roles here: read, write, create, delete, and append to. Okay. Delete and append to, sorry, delete is not required. So you can just remove it for now. But I just given all the privilege because published event is not something that is secured. I just want to keep it secured. Anyone can access the data of it. All right. Perfect. Okay, so this is the one thing that I wanted to discuss about it. Now, this is the just simple HTML. I'm not going to talk about if user. So what I want to do is I have a message on the portal here, like, hey Arpit. So I'm greeting my user with the name. So if the user is logged in, then I want to greet them with their first name. Or if the user is not logged in, then I just want to display some random message. All right. So let's say if I just signing out from here. So let's say what it displays. Okay, so now it displays hello anonymous user, right? So now you can see here, I can change my content dynamically based on the logged in user. That means with the help of liquid template code, I can retrieve whether the user is logged in or not logged in. So I've discussed about that also in the liquid template session, but here also in my code, if you can see here, I'm just checking whether the user is logged in. So this is the single line of code that you can use it to check whether the user is logged in or not. So if user, that means if the user is logged in, then you are just giving a dynamic message, hey, user.firstname. So user is basically the object or basically the contact, the logged in user contact. Using that, you can retrieve any of your field that is available on your contact table. All right. So here user basically represent the logged in contact, and whatever field you have on the logged in contact, whether it's a out of box field or your custom field, you can retrieve that by just putting dot here because it's just a object. It's a container which contains all the fields of your contact table. So I'm just displaying the first name, but you can display the email address, phone number, job role, whatever you want. All right. And if the user is not logged in, then I have the else condition here. So if the user is not logged in, then I'm just displaying the message called hello anonymous user. All right. So this is about that. So this is I'm closing the if statement. So this is how you can write the if statement in your liquid template code. Now this is some of the message I'm just randomly putting it out here, like welcome to Power Guide community and watch my videos of the Power Guide learning challenges here. So if I go here, so this is just a static message I'm just displaying. I'm also going to show you like as I discussed about in the content snippet session, that how you can instead of hard coding that custom message or the content directly in your code, how you can keep that in the content snippet. So this I've just kept it as a hard coded, but other text and other content I have just kept it in the local sorry, in the content snippet. Okay. All right, so this is about that. Now I'm also using here site markers. So site markers I've also discussed about in my components video, where I've discussed about all the components. So site marker is basically it is a component which actually linked with your web pages. Okay, so if I go in my portal management tab, and if I look into the site markers in the left panel, you can see there are some of the site markers are already been created. But if I if I just check one of the site markers like I've just created called view events. Okay, so if I create any site markers, there are only three information: the name of the site markers, the website that you want to associate with, and the page. So that is the most important thing. So site markers is basically a component that actually it's a wrapper of your page. It actually linked with your web page. Now, why I have to create a wrapper, or I need to link my site marker with my page? Because sometimes if you have if you're writing a code and you have to redirect user to a particular web page. Okay, so if you have to redirect user to this particular view event page, what you're going to do is you need to know the view a partial URL of it, right? So by knowing the partial URL of any web page, you can redirect the user to that particular web page. But what happen if someone change this partial URL and you are referring this partial URL on multiple places on your multiple power pages, right? So it might be possible that your redirection logic is written on the multiple web pages, and someone has just made the changes in the partial URL, and your logic will stop working, right? So site marker is basically the component that actually avoid such thing. Like so I just want to, I don't want to depend on the partial URL in order to redirect user to a particular page. So what I can do is I can just give the site marker name, and site marker is something that is basically meant for the developers. So developers make it. So if you have to redirect a user to a particular page, you just need to provide the site marker's name, and this site marker automatically takes the URL of the page and then redirect the user. Okay, so whatever changes you are doing on the web page, whether it's a partial URL or anything else, it will not impact your redirect logic, right? So that's why if you can see here, I want to redirect user to the view events page. So I have a button here called welcome on the page. And I want, like, when user click on the welcome, they should redirect to the view events page, this page. Okay. So let me sign in first here. So if I want to redirect user to the view event page, I need to provide the web page URL. So if I don't use the site markers, what I have to do is I need to provide you know the web page name like this, something like this, slash view events in the href tag, right? But I'm not going to do this, because if someone has changed events to event or view to views, then your logic will stop working. So instead of doing that, I'm using the site marker. So this is the syntax. You have to use the keyword site markers and the name of your site marker. So the name of the site marker is view event, and then you have to put dot and get the URL of your web page, right? So this is how you can use the site markers in your liquid template code in order to write your redirection logic. Okay, so this is about that. Now if I just go down, there are a couple of other things on my page, like you have some of the content is written like Microsoft Community Bootcamp and industry events, and there are some of the description is also written. So I have not directly provided this content within my liquid template code. I'm using the content snippet for that. So as I told you in my earlier session, if you have to display any sort of content on the portal, you always have to choose or go with the content snippet. So if I head over to my home page here, I have created a content snippet called Power Guide Event Banner Title, and one more content snippet is Power Guide Event Banner Description. Okay, so let's head over to the content snippet to check like how this content snippet looks like. So if I go to the content snippet here and search this, you can see here I have already created a content snippet of type text, and I'm just displaying the message Microsoft Community Bootcamp and industry events. Okay, and you can see here the same message is being displayed here. So if I want to make any changes, if I am a non-developer, or if I just only want to change the message, I don't need to go to my HTML code. I don't need to look through my the code where this text is written. Okay, I can simply go to the content snippet and can change this message. So in the future, if you want to change this message, and the same goes with the description as well. So if I put here description, so same with the description. I've just pasted the description also here. So I can anytime go and change this description, or if I want to change the language as well, I can create multiple content snippet and just change the language. So the user who is logged in on the portal has a different language. They can see the content in the different language, in their own language, or the preferred language that they have selected. All right. All right, now let's talk about the dynamic content. So we actually fetched all the events, but how we have to retrieve the data from that fetch XML, okay? Because I have just shown you, you have written the fetch XML and you have included that fetch XML inside your liquid template code. But how to retrieve the data from this fetch XML code? First of all, here I'm showing the counts of number of events. So I have currently 6 events. So I'm just showing the count 6. So how I can get the count of it? So let's head over here. And if you can see here, this is the header to tag that I'm using to display the number of counts of the events. So upcoming events is the header and my query result.entities.size. So my query, if you remember, this was the name of my fetch XML, right? So this is the fetch XML I've created. So if I head over to the web templates and if I just search fetch, so if I open this, you can see like my query is basically referring to this complete fetch XML, right? So whatever result I will getting, so fetch XML will obviously will return the collection of the records, right? So this my query is basically going to hold the result of the fetch XML. So that's why I'm using the my query dot result. So this is basically the collection of the data, and this is basically the syntax that we use it to get the count of the data. So how many count, how many number of records we are getting in the my query dot result. So if we have to display the count, so we have to put the syntax entities dot size. So this basically used to get the count of it. So I'm just using this line of code, this line of liquid template code in order to get the count of it. So that's why it's showing 6 here. Okay. Now, in order to display all this, so let me just get rid of this first, just to for the additional things. So I was just trying something out. So let me remove this first. Save this. I just want to remove this additional button that is you are showing here. Okay, so let me go and sync the changes. And hit preview. Okay, perfect. All right, so now you can see here, I'm seeing 6 events here, but this 6 event, I'm just displaying 4 information about the event. The first is the image or the banner of the event. The second is the title. Okay, what was the title of that event? This is the start time of it, and this is the button just to register for an event. So 4 details I'm just showing, and the 4 details I'm just looping it through because I have the 6 event. So whatever logic or whatever HTML code I'm writing to design this first block, I'm just repeating the same for all other blocks as well, right? So obviously if I have to loop through all the events, all the 6 events, I have to use the for loop. So that's I have done here. I'm just using the for loop here. So this is how you use the for loop inside your liquid template code. Okay, and my query dot entities dot result dot entities contains all your data, right? Because result only contains the collection, and if in the from within the collection, if you have to retrieve individual records, you have to go to the entities, right? So if you have to loop through all the events that you got it using the fetch XML query, you have to use this syntax my query dot result dot entities. Okay, and one by one you are going to use it to retrieve it. Now you remember these are the field name. So if I have to retrieve the event name or the title, I have to use the syntax result dot the name of the event. Okay, and then if I have to display the event the banner, because first of all I'm showing the banner, then I'm just showing the title, and then I'm showing the start date. Okay, so how I'm showing the banner here. So if I head over to my data model here, if you remember, so this is the entity that I have created, the table I have created in the Dataverse. And here I already have some of the events created for you. And there we have a column called event banner image. And in this banner event image, the event banner image, we have the public URL. All right. So if I open any of the record from here, you can see these are the details I'm showing: event name, event description, event start date, location, and everything. And the event banner is basically the public URL I'm using. Okay, so you have two options to display the images. Either you can use any public URL that is not restricted on any domain. So you can just directly use it on your website without storing it in your Dataverse or in any storage location. Or if you don't have any public URL, you can choose the web files as well. So I'm going to show you that how you can use the web files also, but here I'm using the public URL. Okay, so the field name is event banner image. So if you can see here, so this is the result, the object I'm using, and this is the schema name of my field. So result.event manage, and in the SRC tag, I'm using that so that it automatically display the image banner. And here I'm then showing the event name, and then here I'm showing the start date. So that's why it's displaying like this. If I go here, so okay, here it is. So first of all, my banner, then I have the title, then I have the time, and then I have the register button, right? So if you can see here, then I have the register button. But in order to display the register button, I have used the site setting concepts also. So let's say uh, I'm not available for 6 months to organize any event. So I just want to close all the registration. All right. So now if you can see here, all the events are showing. Let me close all this tab first. Okay. So if you can see here, the registration option is there on each event here, right? So I want to use the site setting here so that let's say, if you want to close the registration for all the events, I don't want that someone will register for the event. So if I have to enable this, the normal practice is you will go to your code and will remove this particular, the HTML line of code to remove this, right? But I don't want to manage it from the code. I want to manage it from the site setting. So what I've done is I've already created a site setting with this name so that I can show you that how you can utilize the site setting concept inside your web template code. So if I go to the site setting, and if you can see here, I have already created a site setting called Power Guide Enable Session Registration. Okay. So this site setting basically tells me whether you want to enable the registration or you have to disable the registration. So if I set this value to true, so I'm checking it in my liquid template code here. So first of all, I'm getting the value of the site setting. So this is the syntax of the liquid template to get the site setting value. So settings and the name of the site setting. So if this site setting is not found under the site setting component, then by default, I'm setting its value to true. If it is finding the value, then I'm just retrieving that value and assigning it to a variable. So this is the syntax how you can use it to store the or to assign a variable to initialize a variable in your liquid template code. Use the keyword assign, and then you can give the name of the variable, and then you can keep any of the values here. So I'm just straight away storing the site setting value, and here I'm checking if this source registration value is true, then show this button, or if its value is false, then doesn't display this button. Okay, so let's say for demonstration purpose right now is true, so that's why you can see the register option here. But if I make this value to false and save this record and sync my changes here and preview it, So now you can see you cannot register for any event now, right? So from a single site setting, I can manage all the registration process of the event, right? So you can imagine, so site setting, you can use it in your code to keep such kind of settings, if you want to enable or disable it, right? Going forward, we will also, check some more example of the site setting. So same like this settings, Microsoft has also created a lot of site setting. So if you have to enable the Facebook, if you have to disable the Facebook, or if you have to enable the local authentication, so similar like that. So site setting is not only that you have to use the out of box site setting. As per your business need, you can create your site settings as well. But don't use site setting for all the purposes. It has their own significance. If you have some site or kind of enable or disable kind of settings, or if you have the key value pair of configuration, then you can use the site setting. So I've just shown you like how you can utilize the site setting just to enable or disable a particular feature. So this is about the site setting, and then I have the rest of my code here. Next, head over to my here. So this is how I'm displaying all the events, because the same line of code is basically I'm looping it through till all the events are done. So I have 6 events, so this will loop through all the 6 event and will loop through all the HTML code, right? All right, now next thing is that I have displayed this banner, and then I have again I have some content here, the challenge name that I have recently initiated, and some of the description here. Okay, so you can see here the banner image. If I go down here, this banner image, I'm not taking it from the Dataverse. It is basically stored in the web files. Oh, sorry, no, I'm just saying it wrong. It is not stored, it is not the public URL. So as you've seen earlier, the banner that I was showing on the top, so this banner, these all the banners were the public URL, but this banner is actually stored in the web file. So how we store the images in the web file? So as you can see here, uh, I think this is the one. Yeah, so this is the, if you can see the source, 30 days challenge banner. So this 30 days challenge banner is basically stored in the web file. So I'll also show you like how to utilize the web files to store all your web related files like images and all, and you can use it in your liquid template code. So if I head over to the web files, let me copy that. So that I can find it out here. So this is the name of my web page, sorry, web file. If I just search it out, just need to put the asterisk sign 30. Yeah, here it is. So this is the web file I have created, and in the web file, like the name, the meaningful name you have to provide it, the website it's attached to, the parent page name. It is very important that what page you are providing here. So based on that, your URL will be generated. The partial URL. So this is the name that I'm using to refer it to this web file. So if you can see here, the partial URL, I'm just using it here. And in the notes, I have attached the images here. Okay, so you have to attach your image in the notes. You have the option to upload the images in the blob storage as well. So nowadays you have the option to provide your blob storage addresses as well. So if you have enabled the blob storage just to save the capacity of your dynamics dataverse, Microsoft Dataverse, then you can store it in the blob storage as well. But just for the demonstration purpose, I've just stored it in the Dataverse only. All right. Now, how you can refer this image? If you are using the parent page as a home, then you can directly use the partial URL to refer this web file. Or if you are using any different page except the home page. So let's say I'm using some other page, let's say view event page. So then I have to use the partial URL of the view event page here, and then slash, then I have to use the partial URL of the web file name. Okay. But if you are using the parent page as home page, then you don't need to provide the partial URL of that page. Okay. And some more content I am just displaying on the website. So if you can see here, this power page challenge and this all the content. So for that also I have created, the content snippet. So if I go here, I have created a content snippet. So if I'll go and head over to the content snippet, paste it, open this. So you can see here, this is the title of my Power Pages challenge. And this is the description of the Power Pages challenge. So I don't need to hard code this all the information from here. I can directly refer it from the content snippet. All right. So this is all about how you can utilize the site markers for URL purpose, or the site settings for enabling disabling the settings, or the content snippet for keeping your content on the pages. Now let's discuss about how you can include the forms as well, because sometimes you want you want to create a dashboard kind of things on your Power Pages site where you want to include each and everything. Okay, so let's say how much registration I have done till now. So if I logged into my portal, I can straight away see on the home page itself, rather just click on the particular link or just redirect it to the multiple pages, right? Some of the information I just wanted to view on the home page itself, right? So call for a speaker, if you remember, it was a multi-step form that was actually we were using to, submit the sessions. So how I can include a particular form on a pages. So it's not only about the home page. If you are creating any of the pages on the Power Pages site, if you have to include any form here, then how you can use that. So this is the syntax of it. You need to use the keyword web form and the name of your web form. Okay, so this is the liquid template syntax that you can use it to include any of the web forms. So if you have the web form, then you can use this syntax, or if you have the entity form, then you can use this syntax. Instead of web, you have to use the entity. So web form, was the, the old terminology of the multi-step form, because when the portal was known as the ADX Studio or the Dynamic CRM portal or the Power Apps portal, we used to know the multi-step form with the web form and the basic form with the entity form name. Okay, so Microsoft has rebranded the product and they have changed the name of the component also. So nowadays we know entity form with the basic form and web form with the multi-step form. But in the coding, it is still the same. So don't confuse with that. If you have to include the the multi-step form, you have to use the keyword web form. Or if you have to include the entity form, or sorry, basic form, then you have to include the entity form. So I'm just removing it for now because I don't have the basic form here. I'm just wanted to include here. So this is just a syntax, you can use it. Okay, so this is also one of the example that it is not always required that if you have to expose the form on the portal, you always need to create a page, right? Because in our earlier session we have seen, if you have to create any form, if you have to display any form on the portal, or if you have to display any list on the portal, first of all we have to create a placeholder called page, right? But sometimes you don't want to create a page, you directly want to create a form and you want to include that in another page, right? So by doing that, you can include multiple forms as well. So this is the syntax, you can use it. Okay, sometimes you have the requirement that you want to include multiple forms on the page, right? That is not possible on the page here because one page can be tagged to a one form only, right? So but if you have the requirement like I want to display multiple forms on the page, so you can just use this syntax. You can just copy this multiple times and you can just change the name of your form, right? So this is how you can include multiple forms. Same with the list. So if you have to, so if you can see in the home page, I have displayed the list as well. Some designing and some CSS issues is there that you can also fix it out. So I'm not diving deep into that how to fix the CSS part. But the main objective is to how to include the list on the page. Okay, so this is the syntax, you can use it, include entity list. So as I told you, like earlier, the list used to be called it as entity list. So that's why the keyword we have to use it entity list and the name of your entity list. So this is the name of my entity list. So if I head over to the list You can see here. So this is my entity list website. Yeah, so active power guide links that guide events that actually display the list of all the events. All right, so this is how you can simply use all the components of the portal. So I would always recommend, so whenever you are designing the pages, effectively use all the components so that you don't need to so much dependent on the developers, because the content you can keep it in the content snippet, the setting related things you can keep it in the settings. So if in the future, so by including all the components in your code, you can make your code more scalable, right? So because in future, if you are if your client is changing the requirement, or if you have to make some of the changes, because most of the time we see when we write the code, the most of the changes are related to the content. So let's say today I'm just displaying this line of title, but tomorrow my client says like, okay, replace with some other thing. Okay, we have some new events coming up, we are launching some new training boot camp, so just highlight that on the page. So you don't need to come to the code and just make the changes in the coding and all, right? You just go to the content snippet and change that. So these kind of things you can do it. So I would recommend, I have not done this all kind of customization on my home page, but I would recommend like you try it on the home page and just let me know if you find any difficulties. So my last session and this session both are linked with each other. So I would recommend first go and check that out, my liquid template code, because if you are just directly watching this video, it may have some difficulties understanding some of the liquid template syntax. So if you watch that video first and then come to this video, then it will be easy for you. Okay. So thank you so much for watching this video. If you have any questions related to the liquid template, how to design the page, if you have a specific need of your client, just let me know or drop me in the comments. And in the next session, I'm going to discuss about the links or the web links, because that is also one of the most important component, because sometimes your client wants to create the customizable web links or the customizable navigation menu. So how you can do that, so that we're gonna discuss about that in my next session. First of all, we will discuss about the out of box web links, then we're gonna discuss about how you can customize that, right? So stay tuned. In next video we're gonna discuss about the web links. Till then, take care and bye bye.